The last time I shared how to make bustiers for plus size ladies, some of you expressed your concerns in the comment section of that video. And in this particular video, I've come with another method you can use. But for this particular method, you will need to measure the person. Unlike the other one that I say that once you have the person's under bust, you can manipulate every other measurement. But for this particular one, you will need the person's bust point, under bust, waistline, and every other measurement to make either the dress or the blouse. Like I said, I have so many methods, and this particular method I use here is different from the method I used for the blouse, but all in all, they all still comes out well. But for this particular method, once you have the person's measurement, I'll be sharing some tricks that makes all the difference. All you have to do is to take your time and watch this video, and if you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Now for this blouse, the method I use for the blouse, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that the space that you have will contain your measurement. If you're making a blouse, make sure that if your hip is bigger, it's something that can contain your hip measurement plus the that intake that you'll be having later. And because of the style of blouse you're working with, the zipper allowance is on the front. The border line you see will serve as the shoulder line, and from that line you'll be going down first to the bust point, to the under bust, then to the waistline, and then down to the blouse length. Now rule number one, you are raising the person's under bust by at least half inch. Okay, the under bust I'm working with for this person is 17 inches, but then raising it by half inch will make it 16 and a half. And why I say that at least half inch is that you can even do 1 inch depending on the kind of neckline you are working with. Because I'm working with a V neckline, that is why I'm not raising it by 1 inch. Ordinarily, I raise it by 1 inch if the person's under bust is above 16 inches. Do you understand? But because I'm working with a V neckline and most of them does not like exposing their cleavage, that is why I'm raising it by half inch, so that at the end of the day it's going to give it that same effect that the bra gives them. They don't like wearing bras once you pad their outfit, so just make sure you make it nice so that it's worth it without them wearing the bra. So we are measuring from shoulder to the bust point. You are using the actual bust point you measured there. Then from shoulder to the under bust, which I raised by half inch. Then from that under bust, you're going to go down to your waistline. Or better still, you count from your under bust to that same distance you have from the under bust to waistline. For this person, the distance between her under bust to her waistline is 2.5, and that's exactly what I have here, meaning that I also raised her waistline by half inch. Do you understand? The only time you see a big bust lady having a distance between her under bust to her waistline of about 3 to 4 inches is when the person has a long torso and a really flat tummy. Otherwise, most of them self is just 1 inch difference between the under bust and waistline. But for this person, she's quite tall and her the distance is about 2.5 from her under bust. Then the distance between her bust point and her under bust is 6 inches, yeah. But then you see, because I raised the under bust by half inch, I have about 5.5 here, which is okay. Just follow every other method I'll be sharing here, but the rule number one is that you're raising the under bust by half inch at least. Now you're going to mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the shoulder, and then you go down to the chest line, which I know that you already know how to calculate all of that, yeah. And then once you are done with that, you're going to be marking the standard neck width, which you can go about it the same way I shared on the screen. And then for the shoulder slope, I'm using about 1.25 to slope the shoulder and connect it to the standard neck width. Now I'm going to get the bust measurement divided by 4, and you see that my measurement is starting from that borderline you see on the center. The other part is the zipper allowance, yeah. Then I'll measure from the shoulder slope down to the chest line. Instead of marking the midpoint, I'll just come up here to about 3.5, and instead of marking 4 inches, which is like the midpoint, I came up 3.5. Then on that point I went in half inch. Now I'm going to be using this 3 point from the shoulder tip to that half inch, then curve it to the bust width like this. The next thing we'll be doing now is to mark a bust span, and you can go about it the same way I shared on the screen. I have another tutorial that shared how to, like, I just list the bust span you can use for different bust sizes, but for this one is about 4.5, and I marked that both on the bust point line and also on the blouse length and connect it straight like this. Now for the dart intake, I'll be doing 1 inch on both sides of the bust span line on the waistline. That will be the waist dart intake, and I recommend you do 1 inch too for big bust ladies. Even though I have a tutorial that shows how you can calculate the right dart intake to do for any size at all, but I still recommend 1 inch. That's like 2 inches in case it's not up to the person you're working with is not up to these 2 inches, because doing these 2 inches as the waist dart intake will help contour the under bust better because of this method we are using for this bustier. Do you understand? On the blouse length, I did the hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch is, and that is why we are having this shape you're seeing here, because if I wanted to connect it to the actual hip measurement, you see that it's looking straight. And I recommend that to resist any urge that will make you have a straight side seam when you're making a blouse, add some ease at the hip line or the blouse length so that it comes out well too. For the underbust tightening, I will measure the underbust measurement divided by 4, yeah. Then what I have left from that point to the side seam, I will measure it and now shade it on both sides of these dart legs. Do you understand? Starting from this existing dart we already have on the underbust, I'm going to share that same 2 inches I measure. It's about 2.1, yeah, but I'm using just 2 inches. If you feel like it's too much, trust me, you can reduce it. Instead of doing these 2 inches we have here, you can decide to do 1.75, and you are doing that from the existing dart legs you already have at the underbust, not from the bust span line. Do you understand? And afterwards, you're going to be extending the underbust tightening to the waist dart, and you see that if I had to connect it to the initial underbust tightening I have on this side, it will be looking somehow. So you see how I did that. At the end of the day, I ended up doing 1.75 instead of the 2 inches I measured there because it was looking too much. So I'm going to just use my curve to curve it on both sides this way, and then we use a whole 3 inches to tighten this underbust, which is quite enough. Yeah, so I'm going to like smoothing this part because it's not looking all nice from the underbust to the waist, that connection. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch on both sides of the bust span line on the hip line, then connect it to the underbust tightening like this, then connect this other side this way, and it's looking better. And of course, you're going to replace the dart intake here now, and this is what we have. The next thing I'll be doing is to do the bust dart, and it is 2 inches. That's the difference between her front length and the back length, and I'm using that as the bust dart. So I'll connect it like this, and then the next thing we'll be doing now is to tighten the chest area. And to do that, I'm going to measure from the shoulder tip to the neck width, and whatever it is I have, I'm going to divide that into 2 equal halves and connect it to the bust span, just as you can see me do it here. Now for my dart value here on the shoulder, if your bust dart is 2 inches, just know that the dart value you should have on the shoulder is 1 inch. But if it is 1.5 dart intake, like bust dart intake, just do 0.75. I've worked with different sizes. When you close this bust dart now and then transfer it to the shoulder, like open up this line you have on the shoulder, you're going to have about 4 inches, and 4 inches you're going to divide it into 4, and that will be giving you 1 inch. That same 1 inch is what I marked here. I have a tutorial that explains this in details. And then you're going to replace that same 1 inch. Then you come down to what you used to slope your shoulder earlier. And now I'm going to connect from that point to the midpoint we have on the armhole part here. And of course, recurve the armhole. Make sure it's not too deep. Make sure it's not too deep. This particular curve you have now. And yeah, that's what we have at the end of the day. We'll be talking more about this part, but for now, let's take care of the back. And for that, the first thing I will be doing is to measure the shoulder measurement divided by 2. And then I'm going to go down to the chest line, and on that chest line again, I will be marking the shoulder measurement divided by 2. And now I'm going to use my ruler to just connect it like this. The next thing I will do is to mark her standard neck width of 3.25, and then I'll be marking 1 inch here as a shoulder slope and connect it to the neck width this way. Next, I'm going to measure from this point down to the chest line, get the midpoint. We'll be needing that to cover the armhole later. But for now, the next thing I'll be doing now is to measure down to her waistline, which is going to be 2 inches shorter than what I use as the front shoulder to waist. Yeah, so I'm going to mark it here. Then from that point, I'm going to count down to 7 inches. And after marking it, you see that The blouse length is also going to be 2 inches shorter than what I used as the shoulder to blouse length for the front pattern. So I'm going to rule it out this way, and now we have the waistline and the blouse length. Next, I'm going to be tightening the center back. Even though there is no zipper coming here because of the style we are working with here, I'll still need to take out ½ inch here to contour the center back, and I love the effect it gave the blouse. So my measurement will be starting from this line now. On the chest line, I will take the bust measurement divided by 4 minus ½ inch, the same ½ inch we added to the front bust measurement divided by 4. Yeah, then on the waistline, I will take the waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch. That will be the dart replacement that will be coming later. Then on the blouse length, we'll be doing the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch is, and I'm going to be connecting all these measurements, and you see the shape we have for the side seam. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to mark my bust span, and you see that I'm starting from the original center back line. You're going to just mark your nipple to nipple there, and then you're going up 5 inches, about 5 inches as the dart length. Then we are maintaining the blouse length as the dart length for the down part, yeah, and you connect it like this. Then for the dart intake, obviously we'll be doing ½ inch on both sides, which is the same 1 inch we added to the waist measurement divided by 4. Then you're going to shape the dart like this. And in case you're wondering, this is the waist measurement divided by 4, and then we have the extra 1 inch, which is this same 1 inch dart intake we have here. So yeah, I replaced the dart intake. Now I'm going to be curving from the midpoint we got earlier here to the bust tweet, and it's looking like this. The next thing I'll do is to mark my actual neck width that I'm working with, and I'm using about 4.5. So I'll mark it like this. Then for the neck depth for the back, I used about 3 inches, and I'm going to just give it a round neckline shape, just as you can see me do it here. And that's pretty much about it. If you're working with a zipper, like if your zipper is going to the back, make sure you add your zipper allowance following the center back contour line. But I already said that because of the style of blouse you're working with, the zipper is at the front. So yeah, I already have a zipper allowance allocated for that on the front pattern. So I'm going to be cutting out the back pattern. We are not talking about the blouse, so we are not talking about how we got the blouse length and the curve you're seeing here, but that's the style of blouse you're working with. And since my zipper will be at the front, there is no need leaving the zipper allowance on the back, so I just had to cut it out, and then I'll give it an armhole princess curve. Just blend it into your dart line this way, or the dart legs, and then you're going to have it like this, because you are working with an 8 pieces blouse. So you're going to have 4 pieces for the back and then 4 pieces of the front, and that makes it 8. Now to cut the front, what you are going to do is to close the dart, and to do that effectively, we'll be opening up this bust span all the way to the bust point. Yeah, then I'm going to be closing the shoulder dart first before I close the bust dart. I'm going to slash this line all the way to the bust point, and then apply my water glue in between the space. Then place the slashed one here on this line, and then I'm going to be blending this shoulder slope this way. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to be recurving the armhole, because the first one was looking like it's too deep. So I'll try to use this particular curve to curve it out, and I prefer it now. Now measure from the shoulder slope down to where you want your armhole princess seam to be, and I choose for mine to be here, and you see how I placed my curve to curve it out, like give it that princess shape. Then I'll mark my 4.5 neck width, and I use about 7.5 as the neck depth, because she doesn't want her cleavage being exposed, so I use just 7.5 as the neck depth. Then I'm going to be cutting it out this exact way you see me do it here. But yeah, we are yet to close the bust dart, and I'll still be showing you how to do that in this video. After cutting the center front, I'll go ahead and open up this bust dart this way. I apply my water glue here, then I'm going to place the slashed one on the bust point line, blend in the side seam, and blend in any other part you feel needs to be blended in, and then you're going to call the rest of your pattern out. And afterwards, you're also going to be having 2 pieces of them. Since we have single paper here, you're going to be having 2 pieces of the side front, 2 pieces of the center front. And after transferring to the fabric, I added my allowance when necessary. I have the center front, the side front, the center back, which I have my allowance added nicely. Then we have the side back, and I interface them. I use paper stay for this particular side back, because this other interface I use here, it has finished before I got to the side back. So yeah, I use this other net it's not like I already explained it in my other videos, but I will have to like make a proper video because most people were asking what kind of interface is that. It's like just like a two net, just that this one is quite stiff and it's fusible. It has gum on one side where you place your hot iron and it glues to your fabric. But then for the lining, I did not interface because of the kind of blouse I'm working with. That's why I even stress myself interfacing. Ordinarily, when I'm making, depending on the kind of fabric I'm working with, yeah, and depending on the style, depends if I would interface for a big boss ladies because most time they don't even need bulk or something. Yeah, they're already blessed whether you interfaced or not. As long as you did your pattern well, you did your cutting well, it's going to come out well. And then I'm using this laminated foam for the bust area against wording that most of you know me with. I love wording, but I like using laminated foam when I don't want to use wording. So yeah, what I'm going to do is to just slit this one because of the style we are working with. So this part has to be open for it to go to the two sides of the center front, yeah. And in case you're wondering, I use one particular method to cut out my wording or laminated foam for the bust area. For any bust size at all, I just use one method. So in case you're wondering, you can check my other Bustier video if you're wondering how I cut that out. What I'm going to do is to just place it like this and then go ahead and sew half inch inward from the side. You understand? From this side now, I'm going to be going in half inch and then I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other one. And after doing that, this is what it's looking like. We have it also done on the side front, and now I'm going to be matching it up on the under bust where I have my notch both on the center front and the side front, and then I'm going to be sewing with half inch, basically following the half inch we have on the we used to stitch down the laminated foam on the fabric. So after sewing it the first time, having it like this, I like to go back and sew again to perfect the previous stitch line, because take it or leave it, this is curvy and it's not going to be as smooth as you intend it to be with that first stitch. So doing the second one will help perfect the first one and it comes out well. Then after you're done doing that, you're going to be trimming out this excess allowance we have here. You're trimming very close to your stitch line and you're taking out just the laminated foam. Just trim it very close to your stitch line, just as you can see me do it here. And after doing that, just make sure you're not cutting through your stitches, yeah, and you're going to have something like this at the end of the day. And looking at it, you can see that I did not trim out the fabric allowance, I only took out the wording allowance there, just so after ironing this is going to come out smooth with no bubbles. Because one of the reasons why most people choose to pad their lining instead of the fashion fabric is because after ironing they have this bubble, like it's not smooth as it's supposed to be along that joining where we used to curve the bustier. I don't know if you understand, but yeah, with this method after ironing is going to come out smooth. You only need to notch the curviest part of your bustier so that it will be easy for you to open it up while ironing it. Like press open the seam lines, all the seam lines, just press it open and it's going to come out smooth with no wrinkles, no bubbles, just smooth curve like this. So this is what it's looking like on the inside, and on the outside you can see how smooth and neat it came out. So what I'll have to do now is to just basically go ahead and turn it with lining and finish up every part of the blouse. I fixed the zipper, as you can see it, I use a stone zipper, and yeah, I used the trick I already shared how to work with a stone zipper, and the blouse came out so well. And I believe you saw the effect we have from the beginning of this video. Most plus size does not like wearing bra. When you, as long as you give them bustier, a very good one, they, in fact, they even come to you once you can give them what they want, because they don't like wearing bras for outfit like this. So once you give them exactly what they want, they keep coming back. And if you follow this method, trust me, you can make bustier for any bust size, like big bust, and it will come out well. I hope you found this tutorial very helpful. If you did, let me know in the comments and I'll be seeing you on my next one. Be good. Bye.